Perfect. So this is what is on my mind this morning, Sreli. An ultimate, most general field of science that builds off of and complements existing, most popular scientific expression. Biology in aggregate, egg systems, ooze systems, or biological systems exist or can exist within certain thermodynamic conditions, Goldilocks zone, habitable zone, etc. So I'm basically just making a bunch of general statements that many people would generally find to be generally true. Now, being married to Sakhang, which is a really beautiful and awesome thing, she challenged me to, hold on just a second, make sure that microphone, yeah, okay. When I told her, like, hey, I basically know how to, I'm basically entitled to a military retirement due to my service in a war zone as a combat veteran. She told me, like, okay, that's the only thing in the world you should do. So, when I told Sakhang, I basically know how to cross the billionaire mark if I really worked at it, put my mind in it. It's cool being married to her because she's like, well, that's the only thing in the world you should do. And so basically I wake up in the morning and I think about it. I know how to, we can go back to this. I challenge myself to ask really, really tough questions. Like, I know how to write a book. I know how to build a website. I know I'm stupidly fucking educated. But kind of like Mark Zuckerberg's friend said, hey, if you want to become a millionaire, just have a successful chain of yogurt shops. You want to try to become a billionaire, it's a much bigger challenge. So I was thinking about, like, there's all these different things in my mind, and the first thing that comes to mind is that I'm trying to do too many things at once. I'm trying to keep the U.S. Department of Defense 50 years ahead of all others, trying to help increase the average human lifespan to 150 years, trying to encourage healthy body mass of individuals within families and families themselves, help solve deep space exploration to get to other planets in reasonable amounts of time, and help alien intelligence or artificial intelligence help us coding language, and in that process become trillionaires and help our friends become billionaires, multi-trillionaires, yada yada yada. So basically, in the back of my mind, there's also 200 or 300 other things I'm thinking about, like a multiphasic expression that's well anchored to explain what life is, which may or may not be true. And then we'd have to come up with hyper-intuitive or the single most intuitive symbols to model that so that people can actually use it and not get lost in the process of calculating things and trying to predict future events with the language and things like that. And then I'm also making lots of little side notes to think about, just perpetually challenging myself. And then this morning I was writing down a working assumption. This is not necessarily true. That's working assumption. Emergence is based upon emergence, exponential growth, and other things. Unknown unknowns constantly being capped off, spherified. I made up that word for myself. But this is the big thing I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking, you know what? I want a book. Yes, it's always free online. Yes, it flows right back into Wikipedia. Yes, it's WikiLeaks for Science. Yes, it helps Cambodia, the two political parties. Yes, it helps Aurelius longevity therapies. Yes, it helps innovative aerospace solutions. Yes, this is my work. But I was thinking, like, why did Charles, like, not many people really talk about this now, but it's kind of like, if I'm going to create the most popular book of all time, there's 20 different ways to do it or more. And I was thinking, like, one of the things that helps me when I'm working to think about, like, well, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to pick back up where Darwin specifically left off, to model lots of things he never got to see. And then I was thinking more specifically, basically he wrote on the origin of species, a bunch of things, but that's a biggie. And essentially what it was is he was saying, look, there was no such thing as a Garden of Eden. That is not the origin of life or species. And I was kind of thinking about this. He used the word species because we still don't really know how life originated. But at that time, we had a pretty good idea how species originated, and we could call bullshit on the Garden of Eden model of reality, that species got poofed into existence in this garden, and so then it made it extremely controversial. So this is, I guess, where I was stuck at this morning. I was thinking about, I don't like making things controversial and provocative. I'm always trying not to. But I thought, what do we kind of know that we know that scientists and other people truly bet everything against? Like, scientists in general know there's a Garden of Eden, they know there's certain limitations and yada yada yada, and I don't know the answer to that right this second. There are at least 2 or 3 or 5 things, I'm sure, that I could prove that our most basic understanding of physics and chemistry it's like, and so that's where I'm stuck at this morning. I was thinking, what could I do that would be like as controversial as somebody 150 years ago saying, like, you know what, guys, like, there was no Garden of Eden. It's not the origin of life. It's not the origin of species. I can't prove to you what the origin of life is. That's too specific. But I can prove to you the origin of species happened this way: natural selection, random mutation. And so that's where I'm stuck at. I was thinking, what? Like, I don't know the answer to that. So yeah, I'm literally saying this is where I'm stuck at this morning. So yeah, okay. Thank you so much for helping me. I was thinking about that this morning. It's a challenge from my wife. She was like, "You're smart enough to cross the multi-billionaire mark, multi-trillionaire mark. How would you do it? Do it." And I was like, okay. So I'm working on it.